The question is more important than the answer. Let me explain. Oftentimes, the question is more important than the answer. Albert Einstein had this quote where he said, "If I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solutions." So, this quote emphasizes the importance of asking the right questions and deeply understanding a problem before rushing to a solution. It aligns with the idea that the majority of the answer lies in properly defining and framing the problem. Because if you don't know what problem you're solving, how could you get the right answer? If you ever used like ChatGPT, you have to type in a prompt. That prompt is the question, right? The answer is relatively a function of the question. It's the output of the question, right? So with these AI chat programs, the value has shifted from the solution, which they provide, to the question being asked, which is what you provide. This is often called prompt engineering. And compared to the question, the answer is relatively free. You are the one providing the value. It's the question that matters the most because it informs the answer. In that way, the question actually is the answer. So this is because the quality of the output heavily depends on the clarity, context, and precision of the prompt. Here's a good prompt. It frames the problem. The way you phrase your prompt often determines whether the AI fully understands the intent behind your request. And just swap out AI with any other problem you're trying to solve here. A well-structured prompt leads to more relevant and actionable responses. Iterative refinement is crafting AI prompts, much like problem solving. You refine the input until it aligns with the desired output, emphasizing the importance of the question. And then there's creativity and precision balance. This is where the creativity or flexibility of an AI solution stems from how open-ended or detailed your prompt is. The better the question, the more nuanced or insightful the output can be. And there's a way of doing this which is called seeding, where you essentially give it a couple of different answers, but that's specific to AI, and we're trying to keep things general here. But continuing with the analogy, in the world of AI, crafting the perfect prompt has become an art science of its own. And it echoes the idea that a solution's quality depends largely on how well the problem is framed. It's not just about what the AI can do, but how effectively you're asking the question. So that kind of brings up the point of questions as functions, kind of like mathematical functions. So let's leave AI for a second and look at mathematics, which we've used in previous analogies as well. So imagine a function which is agnostic to the output. Compared to the function, the answer is also relatively free. It's just the inputs through the function gives the outputs, right? So, but sometimes the function itself was hard to create. That's that 55 minutes that Albert Einstein was talking about compared with the 5-minute solution. So in mathematics, crafting a function can often be much harder than simply using it, because math is just math, you just work through it. But sometimes creating the equation in the first place is the hard part. So take Einstein's famous equation, E = mc squared. It looks incredibly simple, but it contains a depth of understanding that embodies a large sum of other mathematical principles as axioms that it's built up to over time. So this is similar to how asking the right question or crafting the right prompt in AI can lead to better answers. So let's talk through 3 examples. Functions as the question. In mathematics, a function represents a structured way of mapping inputs to outputs. However, defining the function often requires deep understanding, creativity, and problem solving to ensure it models the desired relationship or behavior correctly. Similarly, creating a prompt or framing a problem for AI requires clarity and precision as it determines how the solution will work. The function doesn't care about the output. It's a generalized mechanism. Its value lies in the ability to transform various inputs effectively. So if you're a generalist or a business analyst, your value is actually in thinking of the questions that lead to the right answers. All right, let's look at number 2, input as context. Once the function exists, the inputs determine the outputs. The challenge of creating the function mirrors the effort in refining the prompt. A robust function or prompt will handle a wide variety of inputs gracefully, just as a well-posed question will yield rich, meaningful answers. The output of a function is often trivial to compute once the function is defined. Similarly, generating an answer from an AI becomes straightforward once the question is properly framed. The hard part is designing the system or the question that leads to that ease. And number 3, higher order functions and flexibility. In mathematics, higher order functions that take other functions as inputs, similar to like how programming works, where one routine points to another routine, are incredibly powerful but also abstract. These resemble the art of refining prompts for AI to create meta-level queries or cascading effects where the crafting process is even more intricate than the outputs themselves. And we see this starting to happen with AI agents that can go off and do subtasks. So why does this matter? The intellectual and creative weight of problem solving often lies in defining the question, or in mathematics, the function, or in AI, the prompt, rather than solving the actual individual instances. Once the question, function, or system is in place, solutions can then be generated with minimal effort. This is really system building, right? Creating a question is you're essentially setting up a framework for someone else to do work. And in this case, we're using AI as the analogy. So this underscores the idea that the solution is often secondary to the process of structuring the problem, whether in mathematics, AI, or any creative or problem-solving domain. So let's take a look at a few philosophical, scientific, and problem-solving methodologies. The Socratic method, which is an inquiry-based learning. This is a form of inquiry and discussion where asking the right questions leads to deeper understanding and discovery. It's an educational approach where questions drive the learning process, encourage learners to grow, investigate, and construct knowledge. Number 2, epistemological pragmatism, a philosophy that provides practical inquiry and problem solving. The formulation of a question or problem is key to uncovering the truth or utility. It's like a function for evaluating truth, where the input is the idea, belief, or hypothesis, and the output is determined by how well it works or aligns with practical outcomes. Finally, number 3, first principles thinking. So this is where you break down a problem into its most fundamental parts to rebuild understanding from the ground up. This method is often used by Elon Musk and is famously key to how he decided to start SpaceX, reasoning that the sum of the parts and the labor to make them, the rockets, were less expensive than buying a pre-built rocket. So all this boils down to asking foundational questions that ensures that the framework or function is correct, leading to solutions that are both accurate and scalable, a system. It's also a remedy for planting a new idea tree. So I know that was a lot. This is a long one, but trying to wrap it up in 3 series, and I'll do 2 more.